Titled The Hill We Climb.
Let's hear it for Isabella.
When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade, we've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just is isn't always justice. These words were spoken by poet Amanda Gorman, who was invited to speak at Joe Biden's inaugural address. Her words came at a time when our nation's democracy was being targeted and questioned. The year was 2021. The world had just suffered the tremendous pressure that COVID-19 had gripped on them, and then resumed life enduring the waning effects of the pandemic. People all across felt this. They felt the pain, the hurt, the weighing gap within all of us that the pandemic's effects had left behind. And this restlessness, this hurt, was most definitely felt within America. During these years, our country experienced immense loss. Between fires that had set California ablaze in early 2020 to climate change's early effects to the injustices within our government and our people. Marches and protests were held as the nation's people tried crying out to say, "We are here. We matter. Do not let our voices die out in the silence." People couldn't help but be affected by this. You turned on the TV and all you heard was loss and turmoil. Over time, the phrases, "of course," and "what else is new," were too often used in people's vocabulary. Internationally known icons died. Natural disasters that weren't so natural due to climate change were wrecking the states and the globe. It was all hopeless and depressing. Then comes the new year, the new promise of a better tomorrow. 2021 was hope. It was people's desperate desire for a better life. A chance to run away from the pain and at least settle again into normalcy. And that is why Amanda Gorman's inaugural poem is so profound. For her words spoke what our hearts did not know how to say. It is a motivating and inspiring speech that has motivated countless people to follow the mandate in her words, which I will share with you today. This is The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman. And yet, the dawn is hours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country, and at a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that does not mean we are striving to form a union that's perfect. We are striving to forge a union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first. We must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew. Even as we hurt, We hope that even as we tired, we tried, that forever be tied together, victorious. Not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade, but in the bridges we've made. That is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare it. It's because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's a past we step into and how we repair it. We have seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it, would destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy. And this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth and this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption. We feared at its inception that we were not prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So, while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not move back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent and bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens. But one thing is certain: if we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a world better than the one we were left. With every breath from our bronze-pounded chest, we'll raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We'll rise from the gold-limbed hills of the west. We'll rise from the windswept northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the sun-baked south. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rebuild, reconcile, in every known nook of our nation and every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and dutiful, will emerge battered but beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid, for the new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. Thank you.
Can we get one more round of applause for Isabella? This next piece is an original work